Raptors fans, we're not getting swept. We are not getting swept. We played for our pride, but let's not celebrate just yet. Hello, everybody. What's up? What's going on? And welcome to the 38th episode of Raptors in One. So, guys, I haven't been able to cover the past two games in the series, and I just happened to miss watching quite a bit of this game that happened today. But I was listening to it on the radio. It's the weekend, so gotta do the family thing. But that's okay. If you were to ask me, I know it's gonna sound very unlike of the diehard Raptors fan that I am, but I was choosing not to watch the game today. And it's not that I did not have faith in the Raptors. It was just more so, of course, like, I have to go out and, gotta do the groceries and all that good stuff. But I also had the option to kind of stay home today and watch the game. And I said, no. Maybe because I'm the jinx. Maybe because I'm watching the game and I'm jinxing him. And because I didn't get to watch the game today, they won. However, I do have a theory about today's game and about how the Philadelphia 76ers performed, as well as how the Raptors performed. So, without any further ado, let's get it. So today's game was a lot better for the Raptors. I gotta say, if you didn't watch the previous game, game 3, the Raptors, for the most part, actually did play well. I would say right up until the maybe the 4-minute mark in the fourth quarter. The Raptors had the lead. We were playing well. At one point in game 3, we even had a 17-point lead. I gotta say, some of the reasons why that, in my opinion, from what I've observed, why that lead went away was because I think they got complacent with the lead and the fact that they were playing at home. So they're like, oh yeah, you know what? We got this in the bag. And there were some bonehead turnovers that I saw, especially OG. He had a few bonehead turnovers in that game. And, Pascal and Freddie, especially, they started off the game well, the first half. And the way they defended Embiid too, they limited him to 5 for 18 or something like that. It's ridiculous. And then all of a sudden, second half, I don't know what happened. Maybe they got gassed or they just took their foot off the pedal. And Philly, they just came back. They came back with a vengeance. And I gotta say, maybe you might disagree with me, agree to disagree, but from what I see, I feel like in this series, Freddie is outmatched. Not taken away from his offensive game. I'm not taken away from how he sets up the offense for the team and how he directs the offense. But I feel like he is outmatched with size and with speed, especially when you have Tyrese Maxey guarding him, as well as when he has to guard Tyrese Maxey. He's definitely outmatched in that. That's definitely a mismatch from Freddie. And then, of course, almost everybody on the Philly team is bigger than Fred. And if you wanna upset Fred's game, put a bigger defender on him. And that's exactly what happened. So, coming back to this game, we got, it started off well. It started off well with the announcement that Scotty Barnes is the Rookie of the Year. That's right. Applause, baby, applause. But guys, I told y'all since day one, and I think, if I can remember very well, since episode 1 of Raptors in One channel, my first episode, I told y'all, the way this rookie plays, he could very well be the Rookie of the Year. My only thoughts were that his only real competition for the Rookie of the Year race would be Evan Mobley, just because he has a very nice offensive skill set. Of course, he also plays decent defense, And his uptake is that he came into the NBA with a good shot already. Scotty Barnes, there were a lot of questions about his jump shot, but what sold me about Scotty Barnes is what separates him from all the rookies. Especially, I would even go as far as saying all the rookies of the past. Save LeBron and Michael Jordan, I get it. But the one thing that separated him in the rookie race this season was his overall impact on the game. His overall impact of the game, of course, he played more games, but at the same time, his IQ, it still to this day amazes me how his IQ for basketball is. His feel for the game, it's amazing. His vision and, his maturity when it comes to the game, the way he impacts the game. If one facet of his game is not working, he's going to figure it out on the other facets of the game. That's the maturity that he brought to the table. And of course, the league, the sports writers, the coaches, they all recognized it, and he won the Rookie of the Year. If you were to ask me, I'm not surprised. Nope. My only surprise would be, I guess, I thought maybe there would be some media bias towards Evan Mobley just because, again, U.S. market, I get it. But, hey, no, they proved me wrong. They, of course, they chose Scotty Barnes for Rookie of the Year, much more deserved. That was the best way to start this game. So, coming back to the game itself, from the highlights that I saw, again, Scotty Barnes did play, and he played 25 minutes. That's on a sore ankle, sprained ankle. That's big of him. Of course, he did struggle offensively. I could see that, but he did grab 11 boards. Ladies and gents, if you have been watching this series, you would have noticed something. One of the ways that Philadelphia 76ers were effective against the Raptors, it was the paint area. Yes, we all know they were outsized. The Raptors were outsized, outmatched in the paint. With Joel Embiid, big body in there. Once he has it in there, that's it. It was done. I would even argue to now, we don't have any answers for Joel Embiid. We still don't. But at the same time, the key thing that helped them win, apart from, their offense and the fact that, they slowed the game down, for sure. They slowed the game down. Raptors like to run and gun, and they were able to slow the game down. But there was a reason why they were able to slow that game down. They were able to slow that game down because of the rebounds. That's right, the rebounds. If you notice in the regular season, the Raptors, especially after the All-Star break, they were one of the teams leading the league in offensive rebounds. In this series, they limited the Raptors to one and done. That's it. If they missed a shot, too bad, so sad. They were grabbing the boards. Their emphasis was grab the boards. And of course, on the defensive side, lock up Pascal, lock up Freddie, we'll be alright. Of course, it didn't help that the Raptors, for the first two games, they did not have Scotty Barnes and arguably even Gary Trent, because Gary Trent was not 100%. He was sick. And of course, in the third game, we got Gary Trent back, and he played it good. He lit him up. But again, the third game, it's about playing the full 48, and that's every Raptors fan's fear when it comes to the playoffs. Can they sustain it over the whole course of the game? In the third game, they were not able to do it. We even went to overtime, and I thought, okay, with James Harden being fouled out in Game 3 just before overtime in the dying minutes of the fourth quarter, maybe we can do something about it. Nope, we couldn't do anything about it. Now, Philly fans, U.S. media, Raptors fans, you may think I'm making excuses for Freddie at this point, but there has to be some credibility to it. Dude is as tough as it comes, and For all we know, he probably the knee is probably still bothering him. For all we know, he maybe is taking a page out of Kyle Lowry's book and not making any excuses, not saying, "Hey, it's because of my knee. I'm not feeling 100%." No, this is the playoffs. Guess what? Everybody else is banged up in some way, shape, or form. Hell, even Joel Embiid is banged up with his thumb, but it's only a thumb. Like that big body is still a concern for us in the paint. In this game, however, we played for our pride. We played for our pride, and it showed. I gotta give big props to Chris Boucher. He has been bringing it, especially since the Raptors have been down in the series. He's been trying to bring it. You could see it in his effort. You may not necessarily see it in his stats. His stats don't necessarily jump out, but don't take it away from his effort on the floor. He's doing all the little things, deflections, blocking the shots, diving on the floor for those loose balls, just providing that energy, that spark that this team so desperately needs from the bench. He's been doing it. One other person, the X factor for this game, it wasn't even Scotty Barnes' return. It wasn't even Gary Trent. It wasn't even Chris Boucher for all the effort that he has put in this series. It was our very own veteran that we've been looking for to show up, and he finally showed up, Thaddeus Young. That's right. Of course, even he's playing hurt. He's banged up. But again, this is playoffs. In the playoffs, at some point, everybody is banged up, or they miss players, or they lose players. Case in point, Philly, you can use the excuse of, but we didn't have Matisse Thybulle. Yeah, he's a very good defensive stopper for you guys, but at the end of the day, this is the playoffs. We could say, we didn't have Scotty Barnes and we didn't have Gary Trent. That's about 30 to 40% of our production right there. When you lose 30 to 40% of your production on the offensive end and the defensive end, you're losing games. No offense to Pascal, Freddie, and OG. OG's been quietly very effective in this series, quietly. But again, he only shows up in the third quarter or fourth quarter when it's too late, and we don't want that. We want him to start showing up from the get-go. Pascal and Freddie, again, Pascal in this game, he was the man of the match. He was the MVP for this game, and he played very well. I think he definitely scored 30 points. This is the Pascal we saw in the regular season, and that is what we wanted to see in the whole series. Not when you're almost eliminated. I mean, I thought the two losses that we had in Philly were a wake-up call. I mean, he tried in the third game, but again, we needed more from Pascal. We do have a cause for concern, though, Raptors fans, and I have a different take on this, and maybe you may or may not agree with me. Hey, at the end of the day, it's an opinion piece. We may or may not lose Fred, possibly for the series. Depending on, again, for all we know, Philly, the reason probably why they lost, apart from the fact, I don't want to take away from the Raptors' performance in this game, they did play their hearts out. I'm going to say, maybe perhaps they were like, hey, let's just bring it back to Philly, let's just win it at home. Yes, a sweep always looks better. It always looks better, but when they probably felt the course of the game and they're like, okay, the flow of the game is in Raptors' favor for the most part. All right, let's just bring it back home. Let's just win it for the fans, and let's just call it a gentleman's sweep. And that's okay. That's okay. We at least did not get the 4-0. That's right, Shaq. We did not get our 4-0, but you were so close. I was getting to the point where I'm like, man, maybe Shaq was on to something. Well, he was not on to anything. We defended our pride. We gave the Raptors fans something, and that's good. At least we gave them a little bit of hope. If you were to ask me, man, I don't know. I don't think I'm that hopeful for the Raptors in this series. No team in the history of the NBA has come back from a 3-0 deficit. Now, you want to look at the upside of it? Glass half full? Okay, there have been a few teams that have come back from 3-1 deficits, namely Cleveland Cavaliers. They came back from a 3-1 deficit in the finals against Golden State Warriors, no less, to win the championship. There is a glass half full. Of course, look at the bubble as well. You had Denver Nuggets. They came back twice. In 2 rounds, they came back from a 3-1 deficit to beat some very notable teams like Utah Jazz and I can't remember the other team that they beat. But point being, they came back. They came back from 3-1 deficits. So who knows? Maybe Raptors will be the first team that comes back from a 3-0 deficit. Maybe. However, I gotta say, even if they come back from this 3-0 deficit to win the series, their next matchup, and I'm calling it right now, it's going to be Miami Heat. Yes, it's going to make for a very amazing narrative. It's going to have all the drama, Kyle Lowry, a prodigal son who left the Raptors, of course, amicably on both sides, but now it's, he's back. He's going to be playing against Toronto. He's the mentor for pretty much the whole roster in Toronto. And so it's going to be like student versus teacher, and of course Nick Nurse, with him being a, teacher to a mentor to Kyle Lowry himself. It's got a lot of things going on in that series, and it's going to be an amazing series. But right now, we just got to look at it one game at a time. We won this game. Let's go back to Philly. We got to win that game. But Raptors fans, let's just be real here. Let's just be real. I am a hardcore Raptors fan, and I say it hurts me even more to say that the Raptors are not coming out of this series, and it's going to be Philly moving on. And I will be the first one to be cheering on for Miami in that series, like as if they were the Raptors. But if the Raptors are to make it in Game 7 and they move on to the next round, I guarantee that I will change the name of my YouTube channel from Raptors in 1 to Raptors in 7. Mark it. I will change my channel's name to Raptors in 7. As a matter of fact, if you aren't already following me on Twitter, I have a Twitter account as well. And guess what? It's the same thing. You can check out in the comments section. My Twitter handle is Raptors at Raptors in 1. Check me out. I always post stuff. I always post my videos there as well. And of course, I'm tweeting. I'm tweeting even during the games. And check it out. Check me out. I will change my Twitter handle from Raptors in 1 to Raptors in 7 as well. But the Raptors got to win this series. That's all I got for today, folks. Don't forget to hit the comment section. Of course, if you like the content, hit the thumbs up button. And let me know, do you guys really truly think that the Raptors can make it in Game 7 and move on to the next round? Of course, if you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button and check out all my other content. Remember how I kept telling you that from day one I've been calling for Scotty Barnes to be the Rookie of the Year? Well, there's some credibility to what I say, guys. Final thoughts before I sign off. Yes, we lost Freddie, but I feel like in this series we might be better off with Freddie being on the bench, coaching us from the bench. I don't think we can use Freddie in this series. And I'm saying that because of what I've already mentioned before. He's outsized, he's outmatched, it's going to frustrate his game. Let's not forget, of course, his knee is also not 100%. So, that's why I say, I think it might be a blessing in disguise that with Freddie, for this series, I'm not talking about the entire playoffs. Don't get me twisted. We will need him for the rest of the playoffs. But in this series, because Philly is a big team, we may not necessarily need him and think we'll be just fine. However, for that to work out, Scotty Barnes' ankle has got to be at least a 90% win in the next game. And in the series, throughout the series, he's got to be healthy. So does Gary Trent, of course, and Pascal as well. He's got to be the same Pascal from the regular season. That's all for now. Until next time, I'm out.